I understand Jace can down tick at some point, but it doesn't really matter. I'm getting to do kind of the combo I want to do here. Play this. And we can bring back the Rot-Curse. And then we get to Wombo, Combo, Bombo, Dombo our opponent. Whatever that means. But yeah, Burning Tree, Emissary, and Standard's pretty good. Fine. We'll ping our opponent. We will Gecko our opponent. And then we'll Rot-Curse our opponent. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing a very interesting deck that we kind of came up with. It's an old deck, but we're splashing a new card from Tarkir along with a card that's been forgotten about in Foundations to make a very solid game plan for our Rakdos Lizards deck. And what is that kind of deck filled with before we talk about our main synergy of the deck? And that is primarily it's lizards outside of our burnout here because this card has menace and we want to be able to deal damage with any one drop almost guaranteed on turn 2 because of a card like Flamecast Gecko that says whenever this enters, if an opponent lost life this turn, we add a black and a red. So Vine Lasher can deal damage if we play our second land. Burnout can deal damage because it has menace and most likely 2 creatures are not in play, especially if we're on the play. There's never going to be 2 creatures in play to stop us from being able to hit them. And then Higher Claw obviously just pings our opponent whenever it attacks. So all of our 1-drops are able to trigger our damage abilities whenever we go into turn 2 to play our Flamecast Gecko. Or we can set up later for a Gev that makes our creatures larger if our opponent is taking damage that turn and it's all creatures, but this does damage if we cast a lizard, which is pretty awesome. Other than that, we have value cards like Fireglass Mentor that gets us cards for attacking, and then the Thrill Seeker to go with some of our Start Our Engines effect. This also enters and pings our opponent. So we do have a lot of incremental damage in this deck, and that's what kind of comes into fruition at the end when we kind of bring about it, as we have, what, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces of kind of interaction in terms of our non-interactable kind of ping damage that we can do, which is a little bit interesting to say the least. But where does that come into play and why does that matter for this deck that's been a B tier deck overall? Well, we get to play Rot-Curse in this deck, and I know that seems a little weird because we're already pretty low to the ground, but this is arguably the best card that you can play for 2 mana that is going to most likely always hit. And the reason it always hits is 1, it has Trample, and 2, it has Decayed, so your opponent never really wants to remove this. They much rather just take the 5 and let this die on its own. But that is where our kind of game plan comes in, where we are going to be playing a new card, not a new card, a card with our new card that is basically new because nobody ever plays this card, and that is Alesha from Foundations that says raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it rewards us for attacking with this and allowing it to die at the end of combat. And then when we go to our second main phase, we cast our Alesha on turn 3, and then our Rot-Curse gets to come back for free. And we get to do that over and over and over again until they either answer our Alesha or exile our Rot. And in certain cases where this card actually finds its most value is just in the graveyard with its renewability. On X and 2 black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a Decayed counter on each of up to X target creatures, activate only as a sorcery. So this does come up in today's video, but basically what you get to do is you can exile this, say we pay 2 on it. We can target our opponent's 2 creatures in play, give them a Decayed counter, and that Decayed says that creature can no longer block. So for lizards who has struggled in the past to get that final little bit of damage in, we have a 5/5 to hit them for a ton. And then we have this card in our graveyard to basically make it where our opponent can no longer block our creatures and our game gets closed out very quickly because of that. So with that said, Rot-Curse and Alesha shows up a lot in today's video. I think you'll truly get to see how strong this 1-2 punch can be. And we do have a 4 go for the throats to kind of deal with everything else. And Flamecast Gecko is of course another MVP in this deck, because if we do deal damage, we can play a Gecko and play a Rot-Curse at the end of that chain instead of like a smaller creature like a Fireglass Mentor. At the end of it, we can then play a Rot-Curse. So sometimes we go Gecko into Rot-Curse, and that is 9 damage on board that just got placed there on turn 2, which is pretty wild. So with that said, let's dive into the games and see how well we can do. Okay, so our opponent goes first. This is their hand. Their hand's pretty fine overall. You can start off with a Vine Lasher, maybe get it to trigger, and then we're looking good from there. So Vine Lasher in, have that be cooked up. There's like one of two routes we can take this. We can either go for the Rot-Curse, which is like fine, and with that draw it kind of makes me want to, but I'm not guaranteed to land. So I think I go for the idealistic stuff. That hits automatically. We play a Flamecast Gecko. Then I'll just play a Gev. We're walking into a sweeper of some kind, but if it's just spot removal, I feel pretty good. And then next turn, we can go to combat, hit, and then play a Rot-Curse. Like a damage-based removal won't be good, even though in blue-black that's most likely not the case. Jace to Perfected Mind plussing or down-ticking? Most likely down-ticking to try to find like a board wipe, I would imagine. I do want to start my engine at some point. Plus there. Weird plus, I guess. If we play land, we ping them, and then Rot-Curse will enter unaffected, which is pretty awesome. Play Rot-Curse here. Go to combat. See, they want me to hit their Jace, but I think it's just go to the face. Yeah. I think their idea is to have me send 5 damage here to remove this, hence why they took out the 1/1. If they target this, they took more damage anyway, but unless they play like a legitimate sweeper here, I'm just going for lethal this turn. That was kind of the idea. Like now they're 5 life lower. If it's not a board wipe here, we know like they'll definitely probably have a board wipe for another life total here soon. They do wipe the board a bit. Now, deadly cover-up's definitely possible. I was seeing who's online, apparently. I was trying to click my graveyard. So we have a 3/6. I definitely want to go to combat and hit my opponent, I think. Yeah. I understand Jace can down tick at some point, but it doesn't really matter. I'm getting to do kind of the combo I want to do here. Play this. And we can bring back the Rot-Curse. Now we have exactly lethal on board, so it does require another board wipe. And the Omen card downside is that it doesn't help you with deadly cover-up. Rest hits nothing. Ace can plus again, unless they really need to find something. They have to plus, because effectively we have lethal on board. Now the thing about it is, this is based off its power, right? Beginning of end step, if you attack this turn, return Tarkir with less than or equal to its power. Yeah, so that's a little tough. Definitely quite annoying. Could have a counter spell, but we're gonna offspring here. Seems like they don't. Play a land, we'll double ping. Then I'll attack here regardless because we want to counter on it. Now it'll return nothing because his power and stuff was too low. But next turn his power will be 1, so it can return something. And with this in our graveyard, if they just go for the big demon, then we're good. If it looks like they're going to cycle that dragon again. Oh, they draw through. Oh no, they play that to bounce. Okay. So we can actually handle this, which is weird. Because of this. Well, they minus here finally. They do. That's honestly really good for us. I don't think they quite realize what's going to happen here. This isn't a lizard or anything, so this doesn't trigger. So we can do this for 1. Jace can technically win if they have it, which is not good. Because they play... Well, they named Dragon, right? And it's like 6 black, so there's no way they have it. Okay, cool. So we know that that's not the case. We'll do 1 here. So this has whatever, it can't block anymore. And then we'll play Fire Claw here. Go to combat and I'll attack them. Go to 4. This happens on instep, so we can't play a creature at that instep anyway. So now we'll play the Flamecast Gecko to make the mana, and then we'll cycle it to throw this Rot-Curse away. try to find a land. So now we have Vine Lasher plus land to play next turn for that 1 damage we need. This can't block or anything, so obviously we feel good. They don't have the black mana for the demon, so we're fine. And if a board wipe in total happens here, we're fine. If it's Jace plus Mill and Jace, this is what? Each Jace does 15 at full value. A 4 value Jace does 12, so it's 15, 12 for 27. And another tap out here, as long as it's not like a Spell Pierce or something. Actually, it doesn't matter if they even have the removal here, because if I play a Vine Lasher, and play the land, if they only have 1 mana, it doesn't matter again. This attacks, decay happens, it dies. Get it? Going all out here. Let's do it this way, just to see if they have anything, and it's also a pretty funny way to win, to be honest with you. Sweet. So, yep. One of those things where the removal deck actually couldn't beat us, and we're playing Lizards, which is really vulnerable to a removal deck like that. Typically, it's not going to be in the graveyard, but typically when they board wipe you like that, you don't really have a recovery plan, which is what this card's so good at. And I think this card being so big just naturally is awesome. So with that said, cool, we move on. Okay, we go first. We have the black mana for our Go for the Throats, so we're pretty happy with it. We'll keep. Unfortunately, we do have to play the Vine Lasher now instead of being able to offspring it later, which is obviously the best part about Vine Lasher, is if we have like a 1-drop and then we can kick this later to have good value. I personally am on just like play the Gev plan, I think. Seems like too reasonable, and then we'll attack, of course. Can't really play this now, but white shows maybe a lot or a little, or a okay. All right, sweet. Well, now we can remove that, which is awesome. We draw a land, that'd be huge. We miss a land. So here's the thing. I think I just hit them, and then I just played 2 of these burnouts. Which sucks, because the speed's not going to happen first. But these aren't Lizards. Do I just take out their only threat, though? I think taking out their only threat makes sense, though. They didn't really play anything else. Okay, that's all it took. Sometimes they just keep 1 threat, and that was clearly what they had. So we win that game. Very cool. Let's move on. All right, we get to go first here. Pretty awesome hand overall. So we'll definitely latch onto this one. Playing Vine Lasher. You can go first. It's awesome. I love going first. So sick. Best draw would be, I don't know, a lot of things. I mean, that's pretty good draw. Do I just play like a 5/5 here? I guess so, because if I draw the Alesha, I would much rather be able to attack with this and do whatever. Who knows? Maybe they'll think, because they're mono red, they'll think this can block, even though it very clearly says can't block. Not. Witch Stalker Frenzy, I'd be so pumped. Okay. Sure. Sure. Oh, they think it can block. Awesome. We're nuts, dude. This one? Yeah. Because there's like no reason they don't attack there, right? Like, why would you not attack? Also, drawing this Alesha like multiple games in a row after I attack with this is so sick. It's making this combo seem nuts. They're like, wait a minute. You're telling me that's coming back every turn? My 2-mana creature starts at 5/5. You have to work yours up. Now, has traditionally your deck been significantly better than mine at doing that? Yes. Like, 100% it has. But am I going to let you know that? No. Absolutely not. So, if we play this Mentor and we attack, we'll most likely get to deal damage regardless of what happens, but I don't think I'm attacking with this. I don't think that makes any sense. So let's just go to combat here. I had to think a little what we want to do. Counter. And decay trigger. Just go for the throat. We're able to kind of interact with anything if they try to deal with us. And that's first strike. Depending what they pump this with, it's a monster rage pump. Yeah, we're definitely going to respond to that. I'd rather take 2 and then have it kill my creature, and then we lose everything there. Play a higher claw. We didn't attack with a lizard or anything, so it wasn't going to trigger regardless because this is a demon and this is a human warrior. And it specifies whenever you attack with one or more lizards, it does a thing. There's a scamp. So in theory, we could have been dead, but our opponent's stack is betraying them a bit. And they give up. Nice. So the fling deck falls short. It's clearly like anytime you see the scamp, it's most likely it's either goblins, but with the Heartfire hero that tells us that if they're playing scamp with Heartfire hero, it's entirely the fling deck, and let's come away with the win. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah, we'll keep this. We do have like the taunter with menace on 1 into a gecko, hopefully. And by hopefully, I mean like I hope I draw like an effective spell to go with it. Looks like we're against is it prowess, and oh my, a second one is so dope. So we'll play this. Most likely it won't get removed here because oftentimes we'll see them set up like a core steel cutter here, or they'll like draw a card or set up another storm. There's a Swiss spear. No blocks. Opt. That's my favorite part about this deck right now is the fact that you just get to play spells along with doing whatever you want. So we get to go for the third after all this is said and done. So we move to combat. We attack for 1. And then we get to wombo, combo, bombo, dombo our opponent. Whatever that means. But yeah, Burning Tree Emissary and Standard's pretty good. Remove that out of our way. So now we're set up pretty solidly. The only real struggle right now is, as you could probably tell, the mana in our hand. Steel Cutter good. Bolt Wave not necessarily going to close the deal here. Double block here because we have this to bring it back, so we're actually fine. And we definitely need to wheel away some of these lands at this point. Yep. I could leave back the gecko, but we're going to make another one, so it's fine. Fire this up. Only 1 creature to bring back. Definitely willing this. We'll get rid of the village right now. Alright, Vine last year pretty good this offspring here. But we're set up well. We got a lot to go. We do have a first striker, but realistically it's probably getting removed, I would imagine. Although they didn't remove anything last turn when I felt like they were going to. Yeah, there it is. Okay. They have a spell. It doesn't go straight to combat, and there's a pause there, so they do have something to cast. Do we have anything we can realistically do? I think I have to block just so I don't get smoked. Oh, well, it traded. Maybe they do have... They don't... Maybe it's Storm Chasers? Offspring here. Here. So the best part about these pinging now is that this will trigger our lovely little taunter here. So now we attack and we attack because we also have to close out the game before they're able to find something that closes us out first. And we're both at 6. So they're playing the best card arguably out of the Tarkir set. We are trying our best to win the game. And they pass. A land draw here is huge. We should have this in the bag. Double ping here. Should be everything we want. We should have this closed out. Attack out. It's a ping across. No matter what they do, we should have this closed out. Because this has menace, so it's impossible for them to block. We can pump this. And we have it across the board of what we need to do to win. And we actually get to beat one of the arguably the best prowess decks in the meta right now. And yeah, first strike's going to happen. That's just 3 across the board. We got it. Against the prowess deck that had a pretty good hand overall. We just were way too fast thanks to Our Flame Cash Gecko, yeah. That's awesome. That's a great win. That's honestly one of the best wins we can have. All right, opponent goes first. Smash is awesome. Rot-Curse is sweet. We can play Gev, though, maybe? Maybe I hit them and then I play the Mentor, because we want that to trigger next turn. So we definitely want to be trying to hit land drops with a hand like this. Kind of depends. Mono red, maybe we'll fall short this game. You can only beat mono red so many times on the play, right? So, yeah, so we'll play the Taunter. Then I can double play more creatures. Just having Menace is awesome, so we're pretty happy with that. Double ping here, maybe a Monstrous Rage, which can definitely... Iron Claw is arguably one of the best one drops. It is significantly better, improves how good it is when you find that second copy. I mean, doing 3 here with only swinging 1 creature on turn 2. That's also not have cast something else. What do we want to play here? We can pretend our opponent will know that Curse can't block like our last red player. That's the only reason they didn't attack, which is wild. Burst Lightning. Okay, fair. Kev? I don't know if we have to trade or not. Without a land, I feel like trading's bad. With a land, I'd feel a lot more confident in trading, because then I'd be able to play like this and this, and then we can try to find the value that way. But without a land, we really need our Gev to stay in play, so when we cast this, it becomes a 3-2, hopefully hits a land, and then we can play like a higher claw of our own. Flame Cast Gecko would also be a really sick draw in a spot like this. Again, I think we just have to let this happen. I don't think there's a lot we can do to stop this. Sure. Yeah, I think we're seeing kind of why we get crushed here. We do find a land, though, so that's pretty awesome. A creature that realistically they're not going to interact with. And if we do rip an Alesha off the top, we're going to be pretty pumped about it. 2 mana 5/5 that cannot block. The symbol is right there. If they're on their phone, maybe they don't see it, you know? Whenever we're sad, we just have to look at my dog. I'm okay with trading a higher claw here. But not trading, losing my higher claw here, I guess. Uh-huh. Interesting. Not bad. 5. Just like that, this catches our life total back up, which is pretty awesome. Just an engine trigger. Me out, dude. They might have a torch. Maybe they thought about that. If I had more mana, I would just decay these maybe. But I think I'm a little too slow on that one. Fire Glass. And then we'll play a Bash Taunter at the very end of this. We'll take 1 damage, but that's okay. I just don't know how exactly we're going to catch up. They've had pretty good spot removal and pretty good pressure early. And we haven't found our removal. Sure. Well, they've hit a lot of lands. I mean, arguably that would be our out, but... I think this game's just over. I don't think there's a way we win this, but it's whatever. On the play, I think we have a way better chance, obviously, but on the draw there, I think we fail. So, this is what it is. My opponent goes first. Hopefully, we don't struggle from the same way we did before, but having the Gecko and everything attempts to make that a bit easier for us. Haywire might. Gruul aggro maybe? Alesha hand. with that is pretty awesome. Do I play the Taunter because they can hold back and block, or do I play the Vine Lasher? I probably just play the Vine Lasher, right? Oh, I can't play the Taunter because this taps for black initially, right? So all my thinking is for literally nothing. Are we fighting this? It's just a Vine Lasher. I'm good. I'm perfectly good on that, dog. Here, so we're Delirium. Okay. Which is fine. We'll ping our opponent. We will Gecko our opponent. And then we'll Rot-Curse our opponent. By saying our opponent literally means we're doing nothing, but that's fine. That's okay. But we get to attack with this, and then we get to play Who Laughs at Fate, which is pretty awesome. It's honestly one of my favorite things about the stack so far, or just Rot-Curse in general. Finding Alesha Who Laughs at Fate just to trigger that is pretty sweet, but they keep like highlighting my stuff like they have something that they can remove our things. Obliterating Bolt, I think does 4, right? I'm not sure. There might be a new dragon. I know the white one has a red ability on it that can deal 5 damage to a non-flying creature. Had Obliterating Bolt. That dick. Yep. No, I'm good. I'm gonna chunk them for a ton here. Yeah, so we move to combat. I double attack here. What's up? I really hope it's not a torch to tower here, because that would actually cause a lot of problems for what we're about to do. It could cause a lot of problems. We're gonna try though. I think they have a torch. It could be a Haywire Might looking to activate, but oh no, we get it back. Here's our 5/5 once again. This is our Wombo combo. They play the 2-drop that brings back the creature from the graveyard that has exhaust on it. So this is our exhaust combo, if you would, which is pretty cool. I would argue it's sick. What do we have now? Haywire Might doing literally nothing besides being 2 extra life whenever it dies. So they're in theory at 14, 15 if they block like one of these. So it's definitely an interesting thing. Obviously Rot-Curse doesn't care because it'll trample over, but every turn that this remains in play, our Rot-Curse gets better because it's allowed to come back over and over and over and over again. All right. Oh, that's a vehicle. Whenever this enters, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 2. I feel like I just don't feel like I have a reason to block. Like, I'm chunking their life total for more than what they're really chunking ours for, right? Like combat. I don't care to trigger this Mentor right now. Honestly, with this combo, this Mentor has actually been way worse. This card is proven to be a bit more valuable than the Mentor. They might block intentionally to put an enchantment in the graveyard, which is definitely fine. Okay. Let's branch out. Especially because Vine Lasher this many with a land drop can close out the game. Bring back this Rot-Curse again, which is so sick. We brought it back twice. We've had one Rot-Curse and we've brought it back multiple times, which is pretty sick. So we're pretty happy about that. What do you have for me? I have plenty of blockers. I am at 13. Breakout's a good card. They already have a sorcery in their graveyard, so it doesn't really buy them anything here. And in a spot like this, I will block. There's no real reason to mess around. If they have an instant speed spell, I think that gets their Delirium online. But if it's still sick, they do it this way, which is fine. It just doesn't matter now, though, right? So we jump here. We take 2. You have to remember they are at 6 because of this. Depending what happens here, kind of depends everything else. If they attack again, we don't block because the land draw is so good with our Vine Lashers, and we're going to play this Mentor. So realistically, we should find a land. And especially with our Alesha attacking. This only has first strike for now. They're trying to decide because they also have to win the game, right? And they're in this weird spot. So they just attack over 2. That makes sense to me. Putting pressure on, but trying to protect himself at the same time. So again, they are at 6. We need to remember that. So we're gonna play our Mentor. So we already have a land in case we find a second Vine Lasher. Now we're gonna move to combat. I think it's an all-out attack situation here. Threaten 4 and 5, so realistically these have to be blocked. So these are going to make contact, but I think it's a good game regardless. Yeah, so they go up a little, and now this will trigger technically, but we have the land in hand to ping them for both. This doesn't matter. So here, and then here, double ping. And we get there by making sure we don't trade off our additional Vine Lasher. It actually makes all the difference in the world. But I guess with that land, we could have played the Thrill Seeker, and it would have pinged them for 1. So if we had lost 1 Vine Lasher, it would be fine. But, yep, we won the game. Very cool. My opponent goes first. Our hand's pretty sick, especially considering on 2, we get the Gecko, play, go for the throw, attack, they block, do whatever. We play this, bring 1 back. So it's pretty cool. We're definitely down to keep this hand. Not a whole lot to be upset about, I think, outside these being painful, right? And my opponent mauls, so pretty awesome. I have a Vage. I guess we should wait just in case we have a fast land. I do have a tendency sometime to hold a land up, draw a fast land, and still play the land in my hand. Okay. Fine, Lasher. Again, obviously, would we much rather have any of the other 1-drops to start off the game? Yes, but this is pretty good at just being able to, like... Alright, cool. Oh, sick. So we had to play this. I almost made a mistake. I almost made my turn significantly worse. Now we attack for 1. We play the Gecko. This is a matchup we have to be able to compete with or win, especially on the draw because of how good this card is. We need to be able to beat this matchup. If we can't, this matchup's so popular that it feels... it just feels like we're going to lose a lot of games if this is a matchup we can't beat. Will we lose sometimes on the draw or on the play? Yes, it's just the way it goes, right? So, if they cast another spell, there is a little reason for me to block the Cursed Steel Cutter with my 2/2, because this now has no value. And we're still going to reanimate this, but then we keep the board clear. Okay, maybe we don't block, you know what I'm saying? It's honestly better for us because, like, this is good, but it's nowhere near as good as what we're about to do, at least in my opinion. So, combat, attack. He's hit. This goes away. Play a 1-card combo, and so don't I. Bring back our... I could bring back this, but I think bringing back this is more valuable. Considering our opponent's at 11 currently. Honestly, these or the other one, I can't figure out if I should play cut downs in this 1-mana slot or not. Or just like burst lightnings. But I feel like with this and this, the amount of pressure I've been able to apply in a lot of spots, I feel like I'm just being a little lackluster to some extent. 1 top, 1 bottom, or no bottom, 1 top, draw that card. Scry. Could have scryed first, but they leave on top again. Makes total sense. They hold back, which is awesome for us. We have this go for the throat, so no prowess thing's going to beat us here. Plus prowess doesn't beat this unless it's a monstrous rage. This card has just been so weird when we have a board set up like this. Do you think I want to play this and get speed started? Actually, I'm not even sure. I might just still play this on end step. Let's go to combat. Declare these as attackers. The Divine Lasher back as a protector slash like pinger off of our lands. So 5, 6, 7, 8 coming across here. Feel like there's going to be some amount of a block on our creature here. Feels correct, right? The double block on our Rot-Curse. I mean, that is this card putting its value to the absolute max in a spot like this. Such a huge piece to pick up here. If that's how they go. Because, again, this creature is going to die at the end of combat regardless of whatever our opponent does, right? So they're blocking here because they're going to prowess something, I believe. No, I'm good. You must respond first. I will not budge first. Monstrous Rage here. That is actually incredibly fine with me, I think. That puts us where? 3? That is so incredibly fine for me. This is one of those situations where it's like, oh, I get to remove everything. Sure. We'll just body this out of our way. Hit because of first strike. 3, and we still hit them for a bit. This is going to bring that back at end step here. We'll play this. We'll ping our opponent, and then we'll play this for 2. Take a little bit of damage, but that's okay. And then just like that, we bring back the Rot-Curse once again. This card is crushing right now. This Alesha with the Rot-Curse is so insane. Oh boy. It is just working out so well, and it's kind of surprising. Yep. And here's the thing, and I know I keep harping on it. Their board doesn't matter to me. Because, again, trample, returning threat, returning the threat. And it's just like, what do they do here? Genuinely, like, I don't know what the answer is. They keep blocking, they keep losing all their stuff. And no matter how many creatures they put on the board, if they can never answer this, this is now going to 4, so it makes it even harder. So like a lightning strike can't answer it anymore. But this attacks, right? This Rot-Curse attacks. And we also only attack with 2 here in case this is a Witch Stalker Frenzy. But we attack here and here, and then they have to double block again. And then the Fire Mentor triggers. We might find lands for this, and then we just play a Gev as well, right? So just like that, I mean, we're absolutely crushing with this, and it ran so hot today. It's pretty awesome. So on to the outro, I guess. Okay, everyone, so here we are to talk about this deck at the end, and realistically, I have found this deck to be really good and fun so far. I mean, we went 7-2, which is a very good record, especially on the ladder right now, and the main thing is our 2-piece kind of card combo that we can do can compete with the Steel Cutter, and that matters a lot, because it is everywhere at the moment. Everybody's playing it, everybody's talking about it, and it's kind of one of the most popular decks going on the rise right now, as we saw it twice in today's matchup, in which we beat it twice, which is super sweet, just because Alesha and the Rot-Curse are so strong together. Now, does this deck kind of crumble if we don't have a Rot-Curse? I'm not entirely sure, because we know Lizards has been kind of that B-tier deck overall, and Alesha has helped us in the past play this a bit more aggressively, but I think the thing that helps us so much is having an explosive piece like Flamecast Gecko to catch us up whenever we're on the draw, or absolutely crush whenever we're on the play. Because situations where like we get to play a Taunter or a Higher Claw or a Vine Lasher, any of our 12-1 drops into a Flamecast Gecko, our opponent is in a lot of trouble, because that means we're either go for the thwarting their spell, we're getting to play a 5/5 that has trample and whatever, not haste, decay. But we have a 5/5 that we get to play that turn, and then our following turn is still that 1 drop, our Flamecast Gecko, and this 5/5, and if we hit the land and have the Alesha, which we have done multiple times today, we're able to then just attack with this, play this after. They probably interact with one of our other creatures. We play our Alesha, and then our Rot-Curse comes back for free. And that is a free 5 damage we do the first time, because most of the time they're never going to block it. The Rot-Curse is so good at just being this really awkward threat that it's like, I can't block that, or I shouldn't use a spell because it's going to die anyway. And once you bring it back with this, it forces them to have to interact with this. And anytime that a creature blocks this, a removal spell is used on this, we're incredibly happy. Now, is a go for the throat pretty clean? It's like kind of picking this up and then moving on. Yeah, if we don't have the Alesha to follow up with that, or if they do it before we declare attackers. But with a lot of gameplay patterning, or like, you know, kind of the way the game moves on, because we are such an aggro deck, our opponent might think we have kind of Monstrous Rage or protection spells, as this deck does have a couple of those in. There's like the black flash, not flash, it's just instant speed card that gives it like indestructible and stuff. So they kind of have to wait. And if your opponent's waiting to remove something, you've already declared your stuff as an attacker, and then say we do nothing and then they remove something, the Alesha is still going to trigger. Whereas most of the time people aren't killing your stuff before you declare your stuff as an attacker. It's kind of like how people had to start removing stuff with Kaito before declare blockers. Like, they will let you declare an attacker to see if you're attacking, and if you do, they won't let you get the blockers, so you can't ninjutsu it in. But with Rot-Curse, like, we're getting to declare that as an attacker for this to trigger, and it's so awesome. And then besides this, outside of this, we're just a solid B plan, right? Like, we have a really good solid plan on the other side of it, where we're able to play like the Gev, pump everything, play the Gecko, be really solid about it. And places and turns where like maybe we don't have one of these 1-drops, or it's just a little bit awkward because of our mana, well, you know what, like, let's just play the Gev on 2, and then let's just play the Gecko, make that mana, refund it, and then we can play something else. Gev attacks, we play Alesha, say Gev even dies there, Gev still attacked, Alesha gets to bring Gev back, which is awesome. And it all works out well. So the deck performed way better than I thought. I'm really happy with it. I played it in the like public play at first, and then I tried it in ranked today, and again, going 7-2 was pretty awesome. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.